Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Unsure to Unstoppable, the season where I am speaking to guests and interviewing guests who have went from unsure to unstoppable in some form of way. And this week I have Rhoda coming on, and she is going to speak through her journey of being unsure to unstoppable and what that looked like for her. Very, very different story from Christian. I'm excited to bring her on as well. We've been kind of in contact with each other through social media for quite some time, and she's going to take us through her story. So I'm going to pause this, and then when I come back on in a few seconds' time, I will have Rhoda on the call with me, and I will welcome her and welcome you back. All right, we are joined by Rhoda, who's going to tell us all about her unsure to unstoppable journey. So, first question for you, Rhoda. First of all, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your story. It's so super brave and super vulnerable, and like it'll help so many people. So to begin with, can you share what your unsure to unstoppable story is? Like, what did life look like when you were in a kind of darker place, feeling a bit stuck, and what's different for you now?
Well, I think the kind of turning point for me was when COVID came. Now, we have to bear in mind that I'm like 47 years old. So I've always worked. I had like my first job when I was like 13. And you kind of look back now and you think, when you're that age, you're just kind of going through life. You don't really see life for what it is. But then
Mm,
when you get to our age, you start to kind of reflect that that was the kind of beginning of experiencing kind of like working in like negative atmospheres.
yeah.
Um, and then obviously COVID came, and I mean, COVID was a horrendous time for the majority of people, but like I used to see my friends like online and they would be just sitting about, drinking, smoking, eating takeaways. Like they had lost, because they'd lost their routine. I think they no longer really knew what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
And I was very much like that. Like I love routine and I love structure. So I could probably have went that way also. But for me, I was like, this is like an opportunity for you, Rhoda, to like actually for the first time in your life put yourself first, where you've not got the circus of life round about you via work, via kids, via home life, via any other commitments that we have. So that was like a real turning point for me. At that point, I was like severely overweight. I smoked like 45, 40 fags a day.
I
Like,
didn't know you smoked, man.
I look back at that and I think, how the fuck did I afford to smoke 40 fags a
I
day?
know. I said that sooner now than it was then.
It's crazy. And I never done any exercise. And I kind of reflect on that now also. Like, I think, like, my parents never, um, they never encouraged me. I think it's a kind of generational thing with them. They never
Yeah.
ever encouraged me to get fit, to take up running, to join a gym. It just wasn't one of those things that they did. And funny enough, I remember saying to Charlotte a few months back, "Come on and come to gym with me, Charlotte. Like you'll meet new people, it'll open new doors, like you'll feel fabulous." And she's not up the road, and she said to my dad, and then my dad's phone, and he's like, "Rhoda, why are you wanting to take Charlotte to gym for? She doesn't need to lose weight." And that moment, it was like,
Mentality. Mm.
absolutely. It's like it's more than that, but I still think there's so many people in the world that live that way, that that's what they
Mhm.
think, that we just go to the gym to lose weight. Whereas for me, I experienced during lockdown like what exercise could actually do for somebody's mental well-being.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, I think I was about 18 stone or something when we went into lockdown. Like I was a big miserable lady. There's no doubt about it. But I went out a walk one day and I came back and I was just like, I feel bloody brilliant. Like
Yeah.
I feel so good. Just even to be away from the house and the kids.
You get
Like,
that break and stillness. Yeah.
so I kind of kept that up all through lockdown. I walked every day. Some days I was like walking up to like 20k a day. I was out
Mhm.
for 2, 3 hours at a time. I started getting on top of my diet. I was cooking more. I was just feeling better within myself.
Yeah.
with that, my partner then started walking with me. He felt better within himself. The kids came out of their rooms, they started walking with us and taking the bikes, and then it just became this. I was living like a new life. Like we used to sit down and do like our online shopping, and we used to have it used to be a family thing. So we used to go, right, what are we going to have to eat this week?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the kids would say, can we have X, Y, and Z? And I think, right, how can we make that a healthier option? How can I get them involved in it? And literally within that year, I'd created like a whole new world
Aye,
myself and my family just by doing something so simple as leaning into pain because it was a sad time and it could definitely have went one way or the other. I could probably have ended up smoking 60 fags and coming out
aye,
22 stone heavier. But
aye.
for me, I actually thought this is like the time you're never going to get this time again where you don't
Yeah.
have to work, where you don't have to do the school run, where you don't have to do the doctor's appointments, you don't have to go and see your mother-in-law, you go up to your parents, all that stuff that us mums have to do. And
Mhm.
I literally came out of COVID not only looking a different person, but my mind had shifted so much that I couldn't go back to my old life.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. And I felt
Amazing.
like if I'd went back to my old life, I'd have been doing myself a disjustice.
Yeah. Like how far you came,
Yeah,
100%. I totally, obviously we spoke before and I totally resonate with that because COVID was such a turning point for me as well. It was like almost like a penny drop moment or like lots of little penny drop moments rather than it being like
yeah,
one specific one. And like you say, like loads of people did go like a different way and went into
they
kind of
did.
a crux of
Yeah,
depression or whatever. But like that, I was similar to you. I was like, no, I actually have like this is an opportunity to actually sees what the space, the time, learn things, like do things. Like me and the kids were, I was jumping about the living room. It was ridiculous, like doing all that stuff. And me and the kids were out walks and in the parks and all that sort of stuff. So that because I was like, there's no way they are staying in that house. Like, can you
yeah.
imagine if two kids? What age were Matt at that time? Oh God, like. Mila was maybe like 9 or something, and Dylan was 12, something along those lines. And like keeping them locked up, and we were in a flat at the time. Like, there's no way I was doing that. No way. Like, do you know what I
It,
mean? Their mental
like,
health would have been plummeted. Do you know what I
well,
mean?
that's the thing. And I think as mums, like, we've got a responsibility to not only look after ourselves, but to look after our family and our children or whoever else, maybe in that, kind of family environment. But, I it's crazy because I sat here speaking to you today and I just think like I'm now nearly 4 years into my study and I think to myself, how the fuck did I get here?
I
Like
know.
I remember saying to my partner, like we were getting ready to go back to work, and I'm like, I'm not going back, and he's like, say that again, and I'm like, I'm not going back, and he went, listen, Rhoda, I think we need to speak about this, okay? So we did, and he was like, what is it you're going to do? And I was like, I think I think I'm going to go to college, and I still remember the way he looked at me, and he turned around and he went, are you actually unhinged? Like, is there something wrong with you?
And then look at now, like you're
I
absolutely
know.
thriving, and it's like take that risk, like taking that risk is in totally change your life.
Yeah,
So we're going to go back into your wee unsure part, right? So the bit that you were a wee bit dark, so we'll kind of do like a timeline almost, right? So when you think back to that time, what did being in a negative atmosphere feel like for you on a daily basis? So obviously you said there was like negativity around about you before we went into lockdown. Like, how did that feel as a human being being in anything that was kind of negative or having been surrounded by negativity?
I mean, I think in any sort of negative environment, whether it's like through friendship groups or work environments or social engagement, whatever it may be, you see a lot of it on social media as well. But for
Yeah.
me at that time, you can almost, I don't know, you can almost don't recognize yourself.
Mm, definitely.
Um, and you feel as if, like, for me, I felt as if I was shrinking every day just so as that I could have a peaceful life. But
Hmm.
having a peaceful life doesn't always bring you a happy life
Yeah,
because it, it,
100%.
it didn't for me. Um, so yeah, it was a time.
Yeah. And did you feel that it affected your confidence or like how you saw yourself?
I mean, I've always been like a really kind of strong-willed and resilient person. So I think when I've kind of made up my mind about something, I'm doing
That's
it.
happening.
And that's it.
Yeah,
You just have to hold on and come along for the ride kind of thing. But, when you kind of look back at that, my confidence was definitely in a place that I didn't ever, I'd never been to before because I'd always kind of, thought of myself as a confident person, somebody that can face all sorts of situations. Um, but sometimes you're just done, Donna, where you just say no, no more.
yeah, 100%. And sometimes you need to get to that place of pain in order for the that's sometimes a catalyst, isn't it? Like
Well,
that.
that's the thing, and I do look back at like how my life was before we went into lockdown, and there's a lot in a kind of funny sense. I'm grateful for
100%.
certain things that happened because it allowed me to grow as a person and it
Yeah,
allowed me to spend that year reflecting on how I was living my life, my health, how I was bringing my children up, the lack of time I had with them.
yeah,
Um, so I do look back at that. Like, I'm a great believer, everything in life happens for a reason.
yeah,
Like, I 100% believe that. And I think what Disney kill us will absolutely 100% make us stronger. But that was definitely a point I thought, when you've only got one choice and that's to be strong, you've got to
yeah,
fucking go with it. Like, nobody was coming to help me. Like,
yeah,
but I just knew that I wanted a different life. Like, even though I'm an ordinary woman, like
yeah,
with two kids, I like lead a very ordinary, peaceful life. But I just think like the stuff I've achieved like in the last 5 years is extraordinary. like
yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, you're not ordinary, you're extraordinary for sure.
it's it's crazy. Like, and I always say to people, like, there's a lot to be said about just having one job.
Yeah,
Being able to go and do your job and then come home and your dinner's on the table and your house is all clean and tidy and your kids are all looked after. Whereas for me, I've swapped having that sort of life to having a life where I go to uni full time, I've got a part time job, I've got a small business, I've got two kids to bring up, I've got a house to run, I've got work placements, I've got university. Like, it's
yeah. And do you
like
know what? And like whenever you finish your uni, and like you'll look back at this time and be like, how did I do it? Do you know what I mean? It's always funny how you reflect and you think, how did I do it? But in the moment, you just do it. It just happens. Do you
I
know what I mean?
know, and I think because somebody at uni actually said to me last year, they're like, Rhoda, I was saying to one of my pals, there's this woman in my course, and she's an absolute machine. She just cracks on, she makes everything look so easy. And I'm like, listen, on the surface, I look like an elegant squan, but underneath, I'm like
Aye,
peddling for
definitely.
my life.
Aye.
But I thought that was quite sweet of him to say because I think we do live in a
Lovely.
world now where people don't really give you compliments or,
Yeah.
say you're doing really good at this or you're doing, or like you're smashing life. People just don't.
Yeah.
And
Which
I
is
see
sad, isn't it?
it is sad. And it's not even like our generation, it's the younger generation as well. Like, for me, like when I'm being at uni, like it's such a bizarre place to be. Like, I don't know whether it's because I'm older and I'm in amongst a lot of younger people, but they're so secretive when it comes to things like what they're doing, what their grades were, where they see themselves, where their ambition is. And I kind of think to myself, are they just like that because they lack confidence and they don't
Hmm.
want to kind of put themselves out there, or is that just the way that university life is? Whereas I'm like that, all right, guys, how you doing? you know,
Aye. But you know what? You'll be inspiring so many people. You really will be. Right, going back to the unsure part, right? And then we're going to move into the turning point. Were there moments where you did think this is just the way life is? Obviously, COVID was a turning point, but like, was there moments before that that you were just like, this is just the way my life's got to be, forever, kind of thing?
I think, yep, there was definitely a points where I was like, you can almost you can't see a way out.
Yeah,
And it for me, it wasn't even like a way out. It was, what am I going to do now? Like,
yeah. Like this, so I know and whatever. Aye,
so at that point, I really did have to dig deep to, you know, find what I wanted to do. All I knew at the time, I think we were like kind of 6 months into lockdown, and all I knew was, if I could find the grit and resilience to change my life when we're under such stressful and hard times when the world was in turmoil. If
Yeah.
I can do that for myself, like what could I do for numerous women if I got
Yeah.
myself an education? So
Yeah.
that was the big turning point for me. That was like the penny had kind of dropped, and I was really excited. I'm like it was just it was a fundamental moment of
Yeah.
clarification that I'd been
Yeah.
searching for 6 months, and that's kind of like just what's took me like on the path that I'm on now. But like I was kind of sitting thinking about the podcast last night, and it was like my my dad always used to say to me when I was like young, Rhoda, you're not getting another life. This isn't a trial run. You don't get to make your mistakes and then come back and do it all again.
Yeah.
So you have to live your life how you see fit now.
Yeah.
You know, and that has always stayed with me. I mean, I think I was about 8 or something when he said that. And that's always stayed with me. I don't really remember much about things that my dad says, but that one has always stayed with me. And I think I there's definitely points in my life where I've thought I can't do this. How am I going to do it? What will
Yeah.
people think? What
Yeah.
if I fail? How will I manage financially? How will I manage to juggle, all aspects of life? And I'm a really, really proud woman, and I hold myself with high regard for how I treat people. People, people might not always agree with it, but I'm staying true to myself.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. And
um,
there's so many people that are so fearful to do that though. Like there's so many people that are living a life on like the quote unquote shoulds. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
living a life like it's made by design in the sense that not your design, like
yeah,
the design of what society expects of you. Do you know what I mean? And I
yeah,
think it's brave to like be like, no, actually, what do I want? Like who am I at the core? Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
there's like all of the people that I'm speaking to throughout these episodes are all people who have went, nah, this isn't for me. This is not my life. Like I know I like it's almost like a calling into like you're called for more.
That's what it was like. It was like, I mean, even though COVID was a sad time, like I look back at myself, like where we live, I've got like lots of woods and we're quite rural. And the 2 and 3 hours that I spent every day, there was a lot of those times where I would spend walking and crying. But I think for me, that was just me letting out probably 35 years of
Yeah, it's like a release, isn't it?
what the fuck's like because I've never actually had that moment or that length of time to reflect and to think and to kind of pull back in certain areas and refocus and
Yeah,
make a life plan. But I think that was the kind of hard thing for me because I was 41 at the time. So for most people, like most women my age, like they're not looking to change their career. They've
yeah,
been in a long time. Whereas for me, I just felt as if like I had this burning desire to just help people. Like, and I sit here today speaking to you, like women can do it. Like we can do it. Like we can be strong. But it's no about being. It's no easy. Like
hmm,
there's not any part of it that's easy. But I think because I done the hard shit during lockdown, where I
yeah,
allowed myself that time and I allowed myself the time to reflect and have a kind of vague idea of kind of where I wanted to go. By doing that, for the last 4 years, I've literally, it's been the domino effect. Like,
yeah,
so many wonderful, positive things have happened to me. So many doors have opened. I've met so many inspirational and inspiring people like yourself. Like,
mm,
if that wasn't for COVID, like you and I would never have met
yeah,
because I wouldn't have had time to sit on my social media and kind of. I think at that time I was definitely picking people on my
yeah,
social media that would bring me, maybe not immediately, but would bring me some sort of like more understanding of why I was where I was and the kind of
yeah.
turmoil that I was in and the big decisions that I was trying to make. But yeah, like I'm very, very, very proud of where I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned there about this isn't a question, but I'm just going with what you're saying and picking up wee things. But you mentioned there about crying in the woods and stuff like that. I think there's so many people these days that are so fearful of that. Like they're so fearful of like, and I've probably been as well, like in the past for sure. But like you're fearful of like that surrender, like that actually letting go, because a lot of it is like it is a release, isn't it? It's cathartic. It's like allowing yourself and like your body and your mind and whatever to just have that moment of like, this is how I feel in this moment. Whereas so many of us these days are like putting up this mask and pretending to be like especially via social media, pretending to be all sunshine and rainbows and the highlight reels and all that sort of stuff. And that's why there's such a big mental health crisis. It's because people are not being authentic and true to themselves and allowing that space to be like, this is how I feel today.
Yeah,
And that's all right. And if I need to go cry for 2 hours in the woods, that's all right. Whereas there's so many
yeah,
people that would be like, I can't do that. Like that's almost showing a sign of weakness or whatever. And you said obviously about women being strong and we absolutely have the power within us and we're strong and all that sort of stuff. But there's also strength in that weakness and that allowing to be upset and
yeah,
to feel your feelings and all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
Whereas I think there's so much pressure put on women to be like to be I am do you know what I mean? Like I don't like and I'm quite hyper independent as well, 100%, which is an element of probably like that's a trauma response as well. Like, do you know what I
yeah,
mean? But like that, I will feel the feels because I know that my body needs to feel it. And if I don't allow my body to feel it, then it's going to manifest in another way somewhere down the line.
yeah,
Or like that, I believe I'm doing a lot of somatic stuff just now as well. So like it'll stay in your body somewhere and it's going to
yeah,
cause an issue. And therefore it's like, no, allow what happens to happen.
yeah.
Like it's fine. Do you know what I mean? So it's so important that you've mentioned that. Like actually you were in a crap place and you felt that and you just allowed and the fact you were in nature even I'm like yes
I
like do
just
you know
love
what
being out in green space. Like those woods, honestly, like I can see them out my window. Like I've got such fond memories where it would just be me. Because some days in the morning we used to walk as a family, but
I mean?
then I was very aware that I still needed my own time because we need to remember as well, like before COVID came, we would all be at our work, so we'd very rarely be together. The kids would have been at
Yeah.
school, them,
Um,
and then all of a sudden we're just like together every minute of the day. That can be really overwhelming. So I recognised I still needed my own space. So we used to go and do our wee walks. Kids used to take the bikes, and then I used to say, "I'm a way out.
yeah
I'm going out again," because I recognised that I needed that space for my own mental health and for my own thoughts to allow me to take me to wherever it was in my head that I was going. But those days when I used to cry, I used to cry. I used to think, "Oh God, I hope nobody comes, nobody walks past me and be like, are you all right, Hen?" No, because
I
that
know
would have just have been like the most inappropriate question to ask me. No, I'm not fucking all right. Like it's just like,
I
you
know
know,
absolutely
but and then I always felt when I'd come home, I felt so much better. And then because of that, I was a better parent
yeah
to the kids and a better partner to obviously my other half. So, and even now, like there was a few weeks ago, I'm at the gym and like my coach said to me, Rhoda, you all right? I was like, "Woo!" You know, and he's like, oh, for fuck's sake, what did I do? Like,
I
like I look back, I would never have been like that. I was very much poker face.
yeah
This is what I do. This is the person I have to be. And then like I was a different person when I came out of
yeah
lockdown. I was just, there's no doubt about it. I felt amazing. I had such a positive outlook to life.
yeah
I truly believed that no matter what I did, I would succeed at.
yeah and that's a
Um,
lot to do it isn't it like that mindset of like but
yeah,
actually full blown I believe in
yeah,
me. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's a huge part of to do it. And like you're saying about the stillness, like as I said, like people are so scared to be still. And there's so much power in being still. Like so much clarity comes from being still and just
Yeah.
allowing like you think what you need to think and whatever. Like even when I go out my walks, I don't ever have podcasts in anymore.
You're
At
just out
first
in
I put
nature.
because I'm just out in nature, I'm listening to things, and then I've actually now I stopped taking my phone with me. Like so I don't always, because sometimes I do have wee bits and pieces to do, but Like quite often I'll just leave my phone in the house and then I'll see something pure beautiful and I'm like, I wish I had my phone to take a picture. But do you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
actually don't need to do that because I'm
you
seeing it with
don't.
my own eyes. Do you know what I mean?
And I bet you any money those walks that you do without your phone and without your headphones
It's
on,
like,
I bet you come up with so many ideas, so many
yeah,
things to do, like
yeah. And
things
then
that you
I wish I had my phone to write it down.
yeah. Because by the time you get
I
home,
remember.
like with the age we're at, we're about like, oh, a minute,
What
like
was
I
that
forgot what was happening.
again? Absolutely. Right, so we're going to go into the turning point, right? So what helped you realize that you didn't have to stay in that space? So what helped
So
you realize?
obviously,
COVID
um,
was a big one.
so COVID was a big one, but there was the financial impact as well. So I had support 100% from my partner. I think he seen like I looked amazing, and because I looked amazing, it really did shine out through like every other aspect of my life. And I think because he's seen that, don't get me wrong, when I said to him like I don't really want to go back to work, like I want to go to college, he was he was still like you could see it in his face thinking, here we fucking go. But I think the more we spoke about it, I think like he did start to understand
Yeah.
where I was coming from. Um, but there's been like lots of small turning points. Like when I arrived at college for my first year, I remember I think I'd only been there a few months, and the youngsters weren't really that interested in me. Like I didn't have any friends. I spent lunchtimes on my own, and I remember coming home and crying, like,
Mm.
and I think to myself, I actually can't do this. And so I had my cry. I threw my toys out the pram, and then I remember going down the stairs and thinking to myself, Rhoda, remember who the fuck you are? Like, this
Yeah.
is a walk in the park for you. Like,
Mm.
you're resilient, like you're strong, like you like will literally face a lion head on. Why are you letting these kids like make you feel the way you are?
Yeah.
So that was another turning point for me because from that point, I literally would go to college and I'd still be polite to everybody and say hello and whatever else. But I had recognised that I was very much on this, I was on my own. Like,
Yeah.
that I wasn't going to have a support network round about me. Don't get me wrong, the lectures and everything were great. And the kids were, they were respectful of me. Though it was nothing like that. It was just I wasn't living the same life as
Yeah,
them.
it's just an age difference, isn't it? The
It was an
generational
age thing.
difference.
But towards the end, they kind of gravitated towards me because I think they kind of looked at me and thought, hang on a minute, like, how come she's juggling all these things?
Yeah,
Like, she's the first of
inspired
all of
by you.
her kind.
Yeah.
Like, why is she not coming to McDonald's with us at lunchtime? Why is she in the gym?
Mhm.
I was in the gym because I knew as soon as I left college, I had the kids to deal when I wouldn't get to the gym. So it was like,
Yeah.
I was kind of trying to do, I was just living my best life. I was living my life how I seen fit, and I wasn't caring
Yeah.
what other people round about me thought. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And you said there, like you had a wee word for yourself, remember who the fuck you are and all that sort of stuff. Like that, there's so much power in that. Like I think that I speak about that often, about like how your mindset and how what you tell yourself is like what actually comes into fruition.
yeah,
And there's so many of us, especially women, who will look at ourselves in the mirror and critique ourselves like from top to bottom. Or maybe it's not even in the mirror, maybe it's like, oh, pure stupid, I always do that, or whatever, or do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like stuff like that. And like that, like I always say whenever I'm doing anything, any talks or any trainings or whatever, like you are cementing to yourself that that is who you are and that you're
yeah,
cementing that identity into yourself. So the fact that you are calling yourself out and you're going, no, remember who you are, there's so much power in that because then that's what's then got, it's almost like a switch and you're switching
yeah,
that switch on where it's like, no, actually, I can do this and I
yeah,
will do this. And that's that
yeah,
whole self-belief into it. It's like crushing through any limiting beliefs and anything that's going to tear you down,
yeah.
anything that's negative. So as you began to shift, what were some of the first small steps you took towards feeling stronger again? So if you were to say, go, I know it's so hard a question because I'm like, see when I get asked this, I'm like there's so much,
So
like, and
many
it's
of like you don't
there's
kind of
so
know where to
many.
start.
And like, see when you have went from such a place here to such a place here, like it's so incremental. It's so incremental. And I think
Yeah,
it's not the sexy answer. See when people are talking about transformation, they want to have it like the Mora. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's like that, it's not realistic. Like you're talking
yeah,
years. You're
yeah,
talking years of like small incremental steps. But what I want to know is like if what was the first few things that you were like, this is what I did in order to kind of get on to that journey?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me was, I think, you know, when your confidence has been low
Hmm.
through periods of your life, the biggest thing for me was like, no matter what I did, all I knew was that I need to stay true to myself.
Yeah.
At every turning point, I need to stay authentically me. And by doing that, my life has changed so much
Yeah.
because it kind of closed doors on the people that weren't serving me, but it opened doors the people that would bring me so much joy and support. Um, so there wasn't one like what you're saying. There wasn't just
Yeah.
one thing. There was like lots of things. Like I think having like I love my study. I love my books. I love being in
Mm.
a that sounds so boring. I love being in a library.
Yeah.
Um, you know, to be able to have a passion for what you do, but there's never like a end with it. You can just keep on
Yes.
reading, you can just keep on studying, you can just keep on educating yourself. Um, and the more I read and the more educated I became, the more I took better care of myself.
Yeah.
you know, I love to cook. I've got a real interest in nutrition. There's lots of subjects at uni that I do that I never ever thought I would ever have an interest in or want to do. But like I'm a great believer. I think when you start something, just because things aren't happening straight away, that doesn't mean they're not going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to ride the storm and kind of, as much as it's hard, sometimes trust that process and stay
Hmm.
true to yourself and keep bloody working hard and
Hmm.
hope that you achieve what you've set out to achieve. And I've got another year to go at uni, like, and
Hmm.
obviously the business is up and running as well. It's been up and running for 18 months and I've gained numerous qualifications. Like it's crazy and it's been hard. Like I was saying that to mother half the other day. I'm like, in a few weeks' time, you will all be going to your bed and I'll be getting ready to set up my office to do a night shift to get my uni work done. And then I'll get up the next day and either go to my work or go back to uni.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And I'm always aware of kind of like burnout. Like,
Hmm.
I think the way my life's set up, it's so easy for me to burn out. And I did burn out at a stage last year. But when you recognise that, you can put things in place to sort it.
Yeah.
And that's not always going to be like that. Like, I think I'll be really quite sad in my uni journeys by. I'll be a bit like, because that's what I say to the youngsters at uni. I'm like, what the fuck are you moaning about? Like, this is like the best years of your life. Like, you
I,
know, trust me. Like, this ain't no pressure. Like, come and walk in my shoes. Like, give you
yeah,
pressure.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah, and there's so much power in knowledge, isn't there? Like I see if like now we talked about the generational stuff and all that sort of stuff, like, and I suppose I talk about that on the pod a lot about the generational stuff, but there's no like people only know what they know, and they can only teach you what they know.
Yeah.
So like you can't really hold resentment for that because they can only teach you what they've been taught.
Yeah.
But when you do know better, you can do better. And
Exactly.
like there's so much out there now that wasn't out there like a decade ago. Oh, don't get me wrong, there's also so much out there that is probably a bit overwhelming. Like, because like somebody's saying this and somebody's saying this, and what
Yeah.
one's the right one?
Yeah.
But I suppose it's like, well, like, you need to go with what's right for you. Like, you need to
Yeah.
go with. So I would totally resonate with that. Like, I started reading, hadn't read in school, like stuff like that. And that again, that's just giving you more thoughts, more perspective, more like information, more
Yeah.
knowledge. Then you have the tools to then go and create whatever you take from that.
Yeah.
But it's incredible how like you have like on all of it you have a choice, and all of it you have a choice, and I think when there's a lot of people who are in this stuck place, and it's a horrible place to be in when you feel like you're in that like kind of there's no light at the end of the tunnel, there's nothing there. But knowing that you have a choice is so powerful. There's so much power in that, and it gives you that strength to be like, actually, can choose to open up a book and read 2 pages, Are they,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? Do you
Yeah.
have like, what I said, will it take you 5 minutes? Do you have 5 minutes that you can read a couple of pages of a book a day? And it's just something. It doesn't need to be this big overhaul crazy. In fact, the overhaul crazy is the worst thing you can do. Do
Well, I
you
was
know what I
just going
mean?
to say, I think that's like a societal thing as well. Like everybody thinks, that no matter what it is that they're looking to kind of try and change in their life, that everything has to be done now. So now I need to go to gym 5 days a week. I need to do
Yeah,
15,000 steps a day. I need to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice for two of
yeah,
my meals now. And it's like, stop. No, you
yeah,
don't. Just
yeah,
start somewhere. But I think whatever starting point is, it needs to be something that you enjoy. So for me, it was the walking. I absolutely loved walking. I still walk every day to this day,
yeah,
even if I don't need to go and get my steps done. It's good for my mental health, gets me
yeah,
out the house, and I'll continue to do that. Whereas, it's part of habit stacking. You've got to stack those habits. Like you can't
yeah,
just do it all at once because they're
yeah,
going to come tumbling down. It doesn't work
yeah,
like that. It takes a
yeah.
long time. And funny enough, I remember, was it my second year? So it was my second year at college. I wrote, sorry, I've got a fly or something in here. I
There's
wrote an
another name
apology
about the name.
like that. I hope I was a fly. Like, please stay away from me. I wrote so it was my graded unit, which is basically like the college's version of your dissertation, but you do
Yeah,
two of them. So my first year I got an A, my second year I got an A. So because my grades were so good, that gave me entry straight into third year at uni. But that
amazing.
I wrote was called Never Be a Slimmer Again. So it was looking at the kind of psychology behind why women eat the way they do, why they need those like boundaries and structures round about them, why they need a set of rules. Um, and the interesting thing that came out of that was, so I sent out questionnaires to people, and then when they came back, I analysed them all. And the reason a lot of women, the majority of women are like that is because they want everything now. Like
Yeah,
they want it now. But it's like my journey through education. That's not. It was never coming now. It was
yeah,
going to be hard graft.
process.
Fat loss isn't coming now. That's going to be
Hmm.
hard graft. That's not just going to come just by sitting on a chair and just hoping for the best. You've got to put things in place to
Hmm.
make to get you to wherever you need to be. Like,
Yeah,
I think, and people need to understand that. And it's not always about like I meet so many women where they start a different diet every Monday, and it's like, what the fuck are you like? What are you doing?
yeah.
You don't need a diet every Monday. You just need some structure in your life. You need a
Hmm.
little bit of like guidance and support, and stick with it. You
Yeah.
know, just because you're not seeing results in 8 weeks, you've
Aye,
got to
it takes
fucking
time. Yeah, yeah.
believe. So I kind of relate to that sort of journey and like my educational journey that
Mhm.
I accepted that this was going to be
It's got to be,
hard. It was
yeah.
going to be,
And it's like your life. It's got to
yeah,
be your life. It can't be for 5 minutes. Like,
no,
I think that's where so many people go wrong with any form of transformation is like they think, I'll just do this for so many weeks, whether that's a physical thing, whether that's whatever it is, spiritual thing, whatever, but recognizing that actually this is for life. Like you can't just pick it up and put it down. Like you need to, because it's an identity shift. And I think when people do
yeah,
that whole overhaul, you're so far away from who you are currently that there's such a disconnect. So that's why you can't stick it because you're not
exactly.
that person yet.
Yeah,
Do you know what
yeah.
I mean?
I
Um,
absolutely get what you mean. I mean, my journey was it was very slow and steady, and it
yeah,
was built up very gradually over a year. But by the time we came out of COVID, all those habits that I had worked so hard became exactly that. They were a habit.
yeah.
Um,
You're who you are. The part of who you are. Yeah,
but then you know what mum life's like. Sometimes we are not the priority. There's other people that are the priority. So I would absolutely love to be one of those people that trained at the gym a Monday, a Wednesday, a Friday, and had that sort of structure. But you and I both know we don't live that life. We have
mhm,
to, find a way around things rather than just giving up and saying, well, this isn't actually working or I don't want to do it anymore. Sometimes you got to take a step back and say, do you know what? It will work, but you have to accept that you can't do it the same way that you've done it for the
that's it.
last 6 months because your life's
Yeah,
changed again.
yeah, 100%. And
You
it's like
know?
just reevaluating into it at every
Yeah,
turn. Like, what does this look
yeah,
like for me? So I went through recently like a big injury that took me out of the gym for like and the gym is a huge part of like what I do, like,
Yeah.
and not like from a work perspective, but just for me as a
Personal
human being.
perspective.
And I couldn't go train for a month, and it was like, what? It was a
What did
pure
I do?
shift of identity. Like,
Yeah.
what do I do instead? And so now, like, I'm back in now and stuff like that, but it has literally been so slow, such a slow process that it was like you're going back in for one day, you're just doing one day, you're just
Yeah.
doing an upper body session because it was my back my back and my hips and my pelvis and
Oh
stuff.
no.
So, so it was like one day you do one day, and it slowly built up. Like back before I hurt it, I was in the gym 4 days a week. I was running another day. I was doing there was something else. Anyway, it was like 5 or 6 days or whatever that I was training. But then the rest days I wasn't necessarily resting because that was maybe the day that I was at dancing all day, or the day
Yeah.
that I was in and doing the empowerment coaching in the schools all day. So that's even though you're not physically doing stuff, energetically and mentally
Yeah.
it's a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're obviously dealing with kids and stuff like that. So so like that, I had to reevaluate at that point, right? What do I need to do for my body that's good for
Yeah.
my body, that serves my body, not just ticking a box like I must, because I
Yeah.
was one of the people. Because
I
sometimes when
think
you go into
we've all been that sort of person, I think,
some
at some point.
sometimes when you go into like that the whole journey, it becomes like I need to do this. This is like that. I
Yeah.
need to do it. Like it's part of who I am. And then
Instead of saying I want to do it
uh,
because, you
yeah, it's
know,
good for this, it's good for this, it serves me in this. And sometimes it does become a bit of a like I must kind of thing. And then something comes along and stops that from happening. And then you need
yeah,
to reevaluate again. Like so now it's like, but what does my body feel good to do? So it's finding the balance between like pushing through that mentality of
yeah,
I need to do this, like
yeah,
because sometimes you do need to you do need to push through challenge and but finding the balance between that and then the allowing, like the allowing like your body to tell you what it needs, or your mind or whatever that may be, like in whatever transformation that you're in. So you'd mentioned before about like worrying about what other people thought. What role has what did you begin to let go of rather? I'm nailing the next question. What of course. What did you begin to let go of caring so much about what people thought? So how did that process start? Was it like just a moment? Was it like speaking to other people? Like what like because obviously you did care a lot what people thought, and then there's a moment you're like, fuck this, I'm doing me sort of
yeah,
thing. And that's the world, isn't it? The world is so much caring about what other people think.
yeah. So I don't know, that's a kind of hard one. I think that was a very gradual thing. I think for me, I just reached a certain point in my life where I just thought, this isn't serving me. These people aren't serving me. You know, these people's opinions are not bringing me any support or any growth or allowing me to expand my mind or, you know, negative attitudes.
Yeah.
And I find people's negative attitudes a drain. Like, so I think looking back now, I just kind of, I mean, I've always been a bit of a lone wolf, like, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to be a lone wolf because I think there's power to be in that. Like, I don't have to explain myself to MD about where I'm going, what I'm doing, why I'm doing something. So there's a definite power in that, but that really comes from the support of my other half because he just loves the bones of me and he sees the passion that I have for things that I do in my life. So because of that, as much as sometimes I think he's thought, for fuck's sake, I think he understands that woman that I've become over like
Yeah.
the last 6 years, and you know our lives are now much more rich in terms of quality time together. Um, it's just much more fulfilling rather than that sort of kind of passing ships in the night, where
Yeah.
the kids going tonight, where they're going tomorrow, and then like kind of having like days off where you'd be so bloody tired you couldn't fucking bother doing it. And whereas now, um, he'll absolutely brain me for telling you this, but I've actually after 6 years managed to get that man into the gym. So
Yeah. I was just about to say there because see when you shift as a person and you have a partner, like again, this isn't a question, but or this isn't like a pre-thingy question,
yeah,
but when you have a partner and you shift, quite often that can create a divide because they're like, who is this person? That's not who I got with. Da, da, da,
yeah,
da. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So like like it's lovely to see like your wee face lights up when you talk about it, but it's so lovely to see like how that's no happened and actually it's brought you much closer together as well.
It has. I think we've got more to talk about now as well because we're both
Yeah.
in very different paths now.
Yeah.
But he like I think the more time I'm at uni and doing different courses and getting further educated, I think because he sees it makes me so happy,
Yeah.
and then him about it, I think it kind of changes his perspective of like certain things. Because I've been saying to him for years, he's a fantastic runner and he's always ran. Um, but I was like, come on, like we're getting old, like we need to like start kind of building a bit of muscle, so as we can still get up these stairs, needing me to get you out the toilet and wipe your ass, all that sort of stuff. So it was his birthday, and I was like, do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy him a I bought my what do you call it, like a month with my coach. So I thought
Right.
like where there's a will, there's a way, right? I'm like, so I got him that, and he was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And now, I mean, he's been training now for a year past in August.
Oh wow. So it wasn't just a wee dip of toe in, it's a full thing.
He and
Brilliant.
he's like so consistent with his training. He's bloody strong. See, for like a relative, like a newcomer, he is like unbelievably strong. I mean, he's not built like a tank or anything like that. He's quite lean, but over like the last year, his chest's come out, he's got more arms, his shoulders, his glutes, like, and because of that, he's feeling better with himself, like,
Yeah.
so that shines through in confidence, like, and that then has a positive impact, like, on our relationship as a couple, like, it's been such a nice journey to watch, like, and I always knew I was like, well, because I do normally get my own way, one way or another, right?
Right.
But this time was like he was digging his heels in. But I think because he'd been seeing me going to the gym
Yeah.
and I'd be coming home and saying, I was doing X, Y, and Z today, and I spoke to such and such and such. I think there was a wee bit, and he kind of thought, oh, maybe I would quite like to do that, but just never said anything. So
Um,
I had to take that matter into my own hands, and it's been a lovely journey to watch him have something else outside of his work, which
yeah.
he really, really needed. So that's been
Because
great.
there's huge power in that though, isn't it? It's like you as a human being, you're here to live. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so having something outside of your work is so
It's so
crucial to be like to not just have that identity of I am a whatever your work is. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's your only sole focus of your, like you said, what do you talk about? If you don't do
I know.
anything else, what do you talk about? You're only ever talking about your work. And if somebody who you're in your circle doesn't know anything about your work, that is not
Yeah,
going to like be
yeah,
a good communication. Do you know what I mean?
no.
So do you have anything like before we get to your actual unstoppable chapter, which is what you're in, even though we've kind of dipped in it quite a few times, but it's all right, it's all right. Are there any practices, routines, mindset shifts like that allowed you to feel unstoppable again? Like, is there like things that you do daily, or things you do monthly, or things you do like sporadically that you think are like the thing that need to.
I think like through the COVID years and then like kind of through like going back and kind of re-educating myself, I think you come across all sorts of people from all walks of life and different upbringings, different backgrounds, different perspectives, different views, different opinions.
Yeah.
And I think when you kind of live in that sort of world, it can be so easy to go, oh wait a minute, maybe my opinion's wrong, or maybe they're actually right, or maybe. But then there's also times where you go, hang on a minute, I've actually not thought about it from that perspective,
Yeah, yeah,
and you kind of run with that. But I think through all the people over like decades and decades, I think like as we spoke before, like I was always bothered about what people thought, whereas now, and I have done for like the last kind of 4 or 5 years, my circle has got smaller,
mhm,
but I've got bigger
yeah,
because the people that I let into my life now need to be serving, they need to be a certain type of person. They need to be positive and upbeat and have sort of kind of aspirations and be kind and be loyal. If they're like the negative Nancy's that just drain the life out of me, or they don't really understand what I'm trying to work towards or I'm trying to achieve, or there's that sort of, don't bother studying tonight, Rhoda. Come on, we'll just go out. Then I'm fucking not interested in that. Like, I don't have any time for that in my life.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of shit I used to tolerate for years and years and years and years.
Mm.
For now, I'm just like, there's kind of like boundaries. Like, I've got higher standards now. I hold myself to higher standards, that I'm not going to just be that person that makes himself accessible to
Yeah.
whoever sees fit, because my time's precious.
Hmm.
So you need to be bringing something like positive to my life. If you're not, then see you later. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm quite cutthroat about it. Like, I'm just like,
But do you know what is so crucial though, isn't it? Like I said this to you before, but my nana used to say like if you fly with the crows, you die with the crows. Like, and it's so
so
true. Do
true.
you know what I
It
mean?
is.
Like,
Yeah,
your environment is bloody huge for like any
yeah,
form of transformation. And if you do have, and like whoever's listening, like if you do have people who are around you, it doesn't mean to say like you necessarily like because sometimes that's family members. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily mean to say that you cut them off and you never ever speak to them again. But it's just like about being mindful of who you are surrounded by, because when you're
yeah,
surrounded by people who are inspiring and who lift you up and who empower you and who who make you feel good, and
yeah,
obviously the make you feel thing, it's like, well, you have a choice, you're the person that decides what you feel, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um
My
but
parents, like, they don't like, I don't know, I think that's maybe a generational thing as well. They don't really, even to this day, as I sit here speaking to you, they don't really understand
yes,
like what I was trying to achieve or why I was trying to achieve. I actually think that they still think now that I'm fucking living my best life and not really doing anything. But I'm like, this life is hard. Like, I remember last year when I was just leaving college, and I think my graded unit was due in like in 2 days' time. And my mum's phoned and she's like, well, your dad's not coming to collect the children, Rhoda. Like, you can bring them up yourself. I'm fucking sitting in my office in my dressing gown. I've worked through the night. And I'm like, Mum, like, I'm in the middle of finishing at the biggest piece of work. Well, if you want the children to come up, you'll need to bring them. And it was that. And I'm like, you just don't have a clue. You really don't have a clue. I mean, I think we need to bear in mind they're from the sort of generation where you
different
could go,
generation. Yeah,
you didn't need any qualifications. You could go into a shop and ask for a job, and Bob next door be like, she's fine, and start tomorrow. Life's not like that now. Like, life is highly pressurized, and if you want a good life and you want a good job, you got to fucking work hard for it. So, there's been lots of moments throughout with my parents where they just,
don't get it.
I don't think they care either. I think that's a lot
Yeah.
to do with it. I don't think they care about the positivity that I'm trying to spread and the changes that I'm trying to make to women's lives,
Yeah.
by speaking out and doing all the things that I do. But that's like that's a whole new series, Donna. That's like,
That's another episode. But I totally resonate with you. I think that generation just don't they just don't get it.
they
And
don't.
and and I think the world has changed so much that they're just it's just a world they're not in. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
a world they don't understand.
yeah,
And I've had so many conversations with my mum and dad. More so, okay, it depends on the scenario, right enough, of who
yeah.
it is. But um, like with regards to like health and wellness and all that, is mostly my dad. Like my dad would have three. I'm not joking. Three puddings. My mum has Sunday dinner, so she does Sunday dinner every week, and still pure old school, which is super cute, isn't it? But
I love
um,
that.
she's always got like a choice of puddings. Like there's always like two or
Choice.
three, a choice, right? And my dad has it just nods. He has them all, and I'm like, that is
Well,
diabetes on a
let,
plate again.
let,
And then he's very
let,
much like, well, I don't care. Like I would rather like do what I want. And can totally like appreciate. I wouldn't say resonate, but I can totally appreciate like his mentality. But also, I'm like, but you have no idea like what you're actually doing to yourself, like internally. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got COPD and he's got da and whatever. I'm like, if you looked after yourself, because he was kind of like my papa passed away when he was like in his 90s, so he had like long life, but the way in which he passed away, like that, it was horrible, but also like the way in which he passed away was slowly deteriorated as far as physically was concerned. Like his mind was all there and a wee bit more, but he wanted to go fix the light, and he wanted to go do this, and he wanted to get the ladders out, and he couldn't.
yeah,
And my dad's very much like, oh, I don't want to be like that. I'd rather basically die younger. And
yeah,
although I can totally appreciate what you're saying, I'm also like, but you don't know if you're going to.
yeah,
So you could still live to 93 and you could be bedbound for 20 years
yeah.
because of your health. And he's just like, ah, fuck it. And
I
I'm like,
know. But
oh,
then, but then, like, and I used to, because my dad used to love, like, he used to have like big, thick slices of bread with the butter would be like that on it, and the cheese would be like that. Was like, and like, it actually made me gag. And I'd be like, Dad, for fuck's sake, like, do you really need that much butter and cheese on it? But like, I listened to your story there about your dad and the three desserts. Like, my dad's got Alzheimer's now,
right.
so my dad wouldn't even know what a dessert is. So
Yeah.
for me to be able to go back to that place, for him to see what it is that's sitting in him, like sitting in front of him,
Yeah.
would be quite a nice thing to do. But I totally get what you're saying as well. You're kind of trying to look after them, but like I remember my dad saying, I saying to my dad, "Oh, I'm graduating," and he'd be like, "What does that mean?" And that was like one of my, and that's a hard place to be, you
Yeah.
know. So there's like lots of things that you just can't, that I can't speak to my dad about now because he doesn't really understand,
Yeah.
or he tries to understand, but
It's so
it's highly
confusing.
frustrating. But I just think some of the biggest moments in my life, certainly in the last 5 years, he's not really understood what's
Yeah,
going
he's
on.
never
And I
the
think,
awareness.
like, obviously I'm the only daughter, so I've got two brothers either side of me, but I'm now the highest educated person in our whole family for generations and generations, and that's something that I'm really proud of at my age.
Yeah.
You know, but for him not to be able to understand and
Celebrate
see
it with you.
is hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And it
You
must
know?
be really hard. My grandparents had dementia as well, and it's a horrible disease. It's a really,
Yeah,
really horrible. Although I do believe, obviously I do a lot of trauma work. I do believe that there's like we'll not go down because that's another podcast as well, but I do believe there must be links Alzheimer's to trauma, like trauma
yeah,
on the brain,
yeah.
100%. But we'll not go down there because we could
No,
be
we
there all
can
day.
do another series on that, Donna.
So now as we can see, you're absolutely thriving, which is beautiful. It's so beautiful to see that, and like that, you should be so proud of yourself. I hate the word should, but I hope you're proud of yourself, which obviously I know you are. Um, what does thriving look like for you now compared to back then? Now, obviously, your life's so busy this just now, but this is just a period of time, isn't it? Like you know that there's a end goal to that. But with regards to like thriving mentally, because and physically, in whatever way that looks like for you, because obviously we know they're super busy. But what does that look like now in comparison?
So like now 99.9% of the time I will waking up happy, and I have the true belief that I'm exactly where I should be, and I'm proud of everything that I've achieved. Um, it's just I have a really nice little life. Like,
Oh, good. And it's content, isn't it? See that content,
it's
that feeling of
just
being content.
contentment. And I think when you're kind of like, my age, and you've spent, years, like, having my first job from I was 13, and obviously I've still got a wee part-time job now, which is great, but you kind of look back at that and you're just like I don't know, it's hard to describe, but I think when you're doing a job of any description, like whether it's a coffee shop or a garden centre, in hospitality, or in the jewelers, which I also used to work, no matter what it is, like, you're there serving a purpose for somebody else.
Yeah.
Whereas now I serve a purpose just for myself. And
Yeah.
that's like quite a magical place to live.
Yeah.
Like,
And then because you're serving it for yourself and because you're being authentic to yourself, that's then rippling off into all the lives that you're touching, which is so beautiful. So if you could describe yourself in three words, what would it be?
would be resilient,
Love that.
loyal, extremely loyal, and hardworking. Like,
Yeah.
I think those are the three words. Oh, and I'll put another one because I'm kind. Let's have four words, Donna, like that. I think
Okay, I'll give you that. And
like
how do you go for it?
and the kind like what we spoke about earlier on, like it's really important that I stay true to myself. And even though like, I've come through hard times, like I've always remained resilient, kind, hardworking, you know, and I can't stress to people enough, like see if you just lean in to who you actually are, your people will find you.
Yes.
Like my people have found me,
Mhm.
through the gym, through other social connectivities, through university, through college, and through my work as well. Like, I wish I could sit here and say my life's all singing and dancing, but it's absolutely not. It's hard graft, but it's so bloody fulfilling. Like, this is for me, it's no for anybody else. Like,
There's so much
and
power in that. Yeah,
like,
100%. There's so much power in
I
that.
never thought if somebody'd asked me like 10 years ago, like, what do you think you would do if you could go and do anything? I'd probably, like, I don't know, I'd probably just keep doing this.
Mm.
Whereas now I'm like, look at all the things that like I've
Yeah.
done. Like,
It's like
like
that, and it's the blinkers come off, and you're like,
it is,
wow, there's all this opportunity about, isn't it? Like,
yeah. But you don't actually realise, I think at the start of my journey, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, like I don't actually know what to do. Like I didn't even know where to
mhm.
start, or even I was looking at college courses, I was like, do I want to go into coaching and development? Do I want to go into, you know, the social sciences? Do I want to go into like what? Like even that was like a big thing for me because I really didn't know I could make a difference to people's lives through any of those channels. But for
Yeah,
me, sport and exercise science is, it's an amazing course and it opens the doors to so many different things. Like I could go and do pretty much anything I want to do. I'm still not sure what I want to do, but I can go and do whatever I want to do because I've done the hard work
you've done, yeah,
and I made the
absolutely.
right decision and I stayed true to myself and I continued to work and I continued to be resilient and I continued to kind of battle off any sort of kind of negativity that was kind of coming my way and just like stay like really focused.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, like similar to me, you have a real need to use your voice and for good and have that kind of impact. So, how do you want to use your voice and your knowledge to make that impact? So, obviously, you'd mentioned before about the business. Like, what is it for first and foremost, so that people can know where to get you, but also, like, what is the bigger vision if you've got one? Because you might not, like you said, you might be still a wee bit like, "I'm not sure," which
Yeah,
is absolutely fine because like that you pivot, don't you? And
yeah,
understanding that is huge. Is like
yeah,
you see that decision you make right now, it doesn't mean that's the decision forever. Like it
yeah,
just like that's your decision for right now. And when you make that decision, you then decide, oh, hold on, is this the right one for me? If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't resonate, right, well, I'm pivoting, I'm going somewhere else.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And that's totally fine. I think
yeah,
that's probably another reason why people are like so fearful of like stepping into whatever they're really, really passionate about because what if it's not right? What if it's to do? And there's all this what ifs. Whereas when you just do it, then you know
well
one
that's
way or
the
the
thing,
other.
it's like you don't want to, like I'd much rather do hard things and them not to work out and to say, well, at least I tried, rather than staying and being a scaredy cat and going, oh no, I don't want to do it because this might happen and people might say this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I used to care, but it's
Yeah.
now I don't because I've got belief in myself.
Yeah.
Like, I have belief in myself that I will always do the right thing by myself, by my family, and by my clients. Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
so,
So how do you want to use that voice and your
so
knowledge?
I kind of said that the business has been kind of up and running for like 18 months, but it's been kind of very much like, I've never had to really bring it out of the dark, if you like, because I just got clients through kind of word of mouth. And
Yeah.
because I was studying at the time as well, I was always a bit kind of anxious of taking on too many clients with my workload at uni, because at the end of the day, uni life for me is the unknown. Like I've not been here before, so I don't really know what kind of lies ahead. But it's basically the business is basically for kind of women kind of between the age of 35 and 60 who've spent years on that sort of yo-yo diet, changing things up all the time, not really getting any results, not really sure about their nutrition. Um, and the is the uneducation
Mm.
of daily movement, of things like sedentary behaviours, like how that can counteract any sort of kind of good you're trying to do. So it's really it's that, and I want to use my voice to say to women, look, if I can change my life in as little as kind of like 5 6 years, you can too. But you need to be patient.
Yeah,
It's not coming tomorrow. My
yeah,
plan works. So it looks at the behavioural change, the
yeah.
cycle of behavioural
Crucial.
change, and
Yeah,
why people do things that they do, and why they need boundaries, and they need all these sets of rules. And whereas in action, and funny enough, the majority of my clients had all came from kind of different sort of slimming plans. So when they first came to me, like I almost had to like rewire their brains,
yeah,
and it was a very very slow process because I think a lot of these diets it becomes ingrained in your mind. I've had my bread for today, so I can't have another slice, and all this sort of pish. Whereas when you get that education where it's, about nutrition, about fueling your body, about the foods that your body needs and craves, and how you're going to be your best, and getting your steps done, and spending time with friends and family, and it, it's teaching them to live your best life without the restriction. But you need to do these small things every
yeah.
day to get the results.
I think that's crucial what you said there about like when they come to you with like certain behaviors and certain stories and certain thought patterns. And it's like I think so many people who want to transform, especially their physique, they think it's just a nutrition plan and a training plan and that's it. And it's like that is like this so much
Yeah,
that's literally this much of what, because it's not that. It's all,
it's
everything you do outside of
skewed.
that. It's
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 skewed.
it's in here. It's between
Yeah,
your ears. Like if you cannot shift that with whatever it is, whether that's a physique change, whether that's a change of your career, whether that's a like a spiritual journey, whether that's whatever a healing journey, like it's all happens
yeah,
there because and you need to like unlearn all that shit that you've learned in the first place and
yeah,
then relearn I don't want to say the right shit, but like and relearn what is right for you in
yeah.
that moment. And I think people that's the hard work. Like that
And
is the hard
I think the kind of biggest thing for me through the business that the majority of women that I coach, they don't necessarily have the right support round about them. And a lot of that can be, generational, where the
yeah.
generations have ate like that, and then the kids eat like that, and then the parents eat like that, and then it just becomes like this. So it's no always just you know, giving that client, you know, some things to do to get their steps done, looking at their nutrition, giving them their calories, their macros, whatever it may be. It's beyond that because she's not going to stick to that if she's not getting the support from the people
Yeah.
that are in her household with her, and I see that often, when women are trying to make change, but the husbands will be saying, nah, fuck it, we'll just have a Chinese night, you can start tomorrow.
Aye, or they bring in the bottle of wine, they bring in
You
the
know,
Chinese, they bring in
yeah,
the whatever, the chocolate
yeah,
bar and all that sort of
yeah,
thing. Sometimes that's actually, again, like we talked about earlier on, when somebody starts to change, they don't like. Sometimes people don't like that, and they're like, you stay who I know you to be," sort of thing, and it's almost like a sabotage to that journey. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's no way I could have done my transformational journey if I was still in that abusive relationship. Absolutely no way. See,
yeah.
I see when I mean, I was going to the gym and stuff like that, but when I say I was going to the gym, I was going to the gym. Like, I wasn't like training the way I
You
train
were a
now.
training, you were just hanging about, Donna.
Still training, like I was still lifting weights, but it was never really like I was never really pushing myself to like
Getting
the way
tight.
that I would now.
Yeah.
But back then, like he would sometimes come with me, but also um when I went myself, he'd be like, "Who you doing that for?" Like
Mm.
stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And so therefore, that environment, like then I was like, "Oh, I can't
And
do
you don't
this."
want
Like
to then go.
I and then so it makes you feel like again it's a people pleasing thing as well, isn't it? Like all that sort of stuff as well. But I definitely there's no way I would be here today speaking to you in the place that I'm in if I was still in that relationship. There is no absolutely no way, and it's so crucial, isn't it? Like again, it doesn't make you say break up with your hubby or whatever, like of 20 years or whatever, but. like communication is absolute key, like
People,
speaking
yep,
to them and like telling people this is so important to me. Don't get me wrong, somebody who like the person that I was with, that wouldn't have worked because it was abusive. So like
yeah.
that's different. But like for the most part, if you can communicate with your hubby or with your friends or with your parents, whatever, like and actually say this means a lot to me and whatever, and this is how I feel, da da da, then that's different. So what message would you like to share with somebody who's listening who might feel stuck in a negative atmosphere right now?
If you want to change and you feel you've got enough strength to kind of take back control of your life, whether that's through a very small and it maybe it feels insignificant sometimes those small moves that we make are like the most important ones. Like we have to get off the starting blocks, we have to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and we have to appreciate that it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's one of those things I could kind of talk to till I'm blue in the face. Like I am very, very lucky. My situation is, not everybody else's situation. Like my other half, as I said before, he couldn't support me enough. And he's hornless, like absolutely. He's absolutely hornless when it comes to cooking now. He's bloody useless.
Oh,
So
can't you have it all for God's sake?
he's useless. So whenever like I was like in that sort of kind of path of changing my diet and things, he would just eat what I gave him. So life was easy for me. So I've never really had that sort of, oh, I don't really want to eat that tonight. Can you make me something else? Can we just get a takeaway?
Yeah.
We'll just I've never really had that because he just kind of like will just eat what I give him. But for some of these women out there, it's like what goes on, like yourself, what goes on in the household will pretty much dictate a lot of stuff that goes
Yeah.
on. Like your body starts to show like how you're not maybe looking after yourself, or starts to show the support you're not getting, mentally. Like I think mental health's such a big thing now as well. I think if you can get on top of your mental health and find ways to push through the hard and the dark times,
Hmm.
then the rest, if you allow yourself, will just follow suit.
Yeah.
But it's hard graft. Like
It is hard graft. And I think there's so much, I mean, it's like a jigsaw, isn't it? Like you can, if you look after yourself physically, whether that's walks, whether it doesn't need to be you go to the gym 5 times a week, whatever. But if you start to look after yourself physically, then then it makes you feel better mentally
yeah,
and vice versa. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like when you
yeah,
start to work on your brain and work
yeah.
on like your thought process and whatever, then that'll ripple over into you wanting to be, and it's not necessarily like a wanting to be fat lossy or wanting to be whatever. It's just about like actual health, isn't it? Like
And
wellness.
that's the thing. I think it's we live in a world now where there's so much mumbo jumbo, there's so much information out there, half of it's a load of shite. But
Yeah.
when you're uneducated, like you would literally go and do whatever workout was suggested on Instagram or go and eat whatever food it was that you seen on TikTok.
Or the
But you've
pills
got to
and
have,
all that nonsense.
yep, exactly. You've got to have
Skinny
that sort
coffee. Oh,
of awareness of, like that's not, I don't want to go down the route of taking pills or taking medication, or, you
yeah.
know, you have to make the small changes. And that for a lot of women, a small change can just be eat your breakfast. Because a lot of
Yeah.
women don't eat breakfast. And then because they're at their work, they either don't eat lunch or they eat very little. And then by
And
the
then they're
time they get home
starving.
at night, they're absolutely ravenous. And then that starts that whole cycle of, but I hardly eat anything, but you're
Yeah.
eating 2,500 calories at your dinner time, like, because you're
Yeah.
not, and oh, I didn't realize I was eating that much. And that's where I come in because I think, I met a friend of mine actually. It was a good few months ago, but she was saying she works in a clothing shop in Kilmarnock, and she was like, "Oh, Rhoda, what you been up to? Yada yada yada." And I was telling her, she's like, you look great. She went, but you know what? I don't want to calorie count. I'm not going to calorie count for the rest of my life. And it was like, hang on a minute, who has said you have to calorie count for the rest of your life?
Yeah. It's like it's just bringing awareness, isn't it?
It's a tool to give you awareness and a better perception of portions and fats and proteins and carbohydrates, whatever it may be. And she kind of thought, well, I never actually thought about it like that, but that's what's wrong.
Yeah, it's misinformation into it,
It
and I
is.
think when people are vulnerable. I see if you were to look at the world, like even if you were to listen, I mean, I love you listening to conversations, right? But don't tell everybody. But like people watching and listening to conversations, like I'm fascinated. Like I'm absolutely fascinated by human behavior, like fascinated. But a lot of what you hear is like oh like what you on just now, like as far as like Weight Watchers or I mean probably shouldn't say any names, but if that, whatever the place you're going to or the Manjaro or whatever, all this other stuff, and there's such a it's such a spoken about thing, like it's such a thing that a lot of people are wanting to change like what they look like, because also that also comes down to self-worth and self-love, and when you feel good in yourself and your skin, you then that energy breathes from you as well. But there's so much misinformation out there that actually people are just like, oh, try this. But again, like you said, it's the consistency as well, isn't it? But like, I'll
Yeah,
do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And then they're in this cycle, like a wee hamster wheel of like either the jumping to think a thing or the hamster wheel of on it, off it, on it, off it, on it, off it, on it,
yeah,
off it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's like, again, like no matter whether that is a physical thing or whatever, like it takes having the knowledge and having the understanding and also understanding yourself. Do you know what I mean? And understanding what works for you.
yeah,
Because even, I mean, my relationship with food was awful when I was younger, like awful. And it's a total journey. And I'm so much better now, but it's still a journey. Like
yeah.
it's
And you have
still
to
a
work
journey.
on it all the time. Like,
Absolutely.
you
And it's
know,
shifted and it's changed. Like for a wee while I was pure robotic. I must have this every day,
yeah,
every morning, every breakfast, and everything was safe. But that doesn't work for me anymore because of
yeah,
like hormones and whatever, all that
yeah,
sort of stuff. So now I'm like, well, actually now I need to now I need to, and then I went through a phase of not having any. I figured out that there was so much processed, so I had done the whole food stuff and all that for a while. Figured out like I'm vegetarian, so I figured out there was so much processedness, that's not a word, and like the corn and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, I can't have that anymore. So then I went into like um beans and lentils and pulses and all that, and I used to make that, but then I had that all the time, and that's not good either. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? So then now it's like, well, actually, my body needs variety. I also used to have eggs every morning and eggs every lunchtime, like, but again, like it's no good to have the same thing all the time either. Do you know what I mean?
I
So,
know you need, I think it's that sort of kind of food freedom, isn't it? It's to be able
aye,
to live your life how you want to live your life,
yeah,
but and having that freedom to eat what you want that's going to fuel your body and make you feel good about yourself and kind of
yeah,
meet any sort of kind of goals that you might have with regards to your nutrition. But you need to
that's
live
took
your
years.
life.
Yeah, but that has took years. Like the space that I'm in now, we're talking years. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like to be able to get to the space where I'm like, oh, actually, this so like that. Sometimes you do need to be robotic in the first
yeah.
instance to kind of
I just to get going.
understand.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, actually, no, I need variety. And you know, when I first became a veggie, I hated vegetables. Like hated them. So I was
Oh,
in pasta and
Donna,
pizza.
I love
Honestly,
vegetables.
like
Like
I
I
love
couldn't
them
imagine
now.
a life without
Well,
vegetables.
I love them now, but like I was 9 when I became a veggie, so
Yeah,
like that typical 9 year olds, like I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that,
yeah,
whatever. So I lived my life in pasta and pizza, pure ballooned, obviously,
yeah,
and then but now it's like everything everything has some sort of fruit or veg in it, like everything I have,
yeah,
and again, like you say, the ripple effect of that is the kids are at that age where they're picky at times. But again, I'm still having all that, so they're still seeing that, and
yeah.
so subconsciously there'll be some part of them that they're picking up on
Why
that,
is
and
mum eating that?
aye,
Yeah,
and obviously that's to do with like like not illness, I don't want to say illness, but like stuff to do with my body, and this is me exploring that sort of thing, and
yeah,
it's just because I have such a self-awareness of my own self now that I can go into that space, but it's took a long time to get there, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
I totally
But
get that. I think good things like Rome's not built in a day. Like
yeah,
setting up a new life or a new habit or new goals or kind of new visions like that takes time. It's
yeah, for
patience and
sure.
perseverance, no matter what it is. But you got to go. You've got to follow your dreams. You've got to do what you think you need to do for no matter for whatever area in your life.
Absolutely. And so we've got one more question. if you could ask this to everybody, actually, this is going to be now how like the Diary of a CEO does that. My last guest thing. This is going to be my thing. I've decided.
Okay.
So, if you could go back and whisper something to that version of yourself, that former version of yourself, what would it be?
I think it would be fuck this shit. Like, I genuinely think it would be if I could go back and speak to myself, I think it would be fuck this shit. Like, there needs to be more till there's more out there for you than this. Like, nah. Like that, no, no, like just no. Like I
Aye.
think that I think that's
It's
what I
funny though,
probably
you did get that. That's obviously that's what happened eventually, wasn't it? Like there was that fuck this, aye.
I know, I think it's one of those things. I think when you think about things for so long that sometimes it comes out one way or another, one
Yeah,
way or
for
another.
sure.
But it's been an absolutely fantastic journey. Like it's so fulfilling. Like even though like I'm kind of sitting here going like I'm going back to uni like in 2 weeks. Like there's a big part of me that's like fuck that shit, you know. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
like. But I know I just have one last big push. I might go and do a masters. We'll wait and we'll see how we go. I just think I've come this far, Donna, so like it
no,
wouldn't be inappropriate for me to not see it through.
yeah. And you know what? What's meant to be, it will be, and it'll be incredible no matter what. Like if you can do what you've done in the last 5 years, then what? Oh God only knows, or the universe. I'm not really a God person. I'm more a universe person. But like whomever you believe in,
I
they only
know,
know
I know it's
what lies ahead.
a kind of strange thing because I actually don't really have time, and I say this to people and they're horrified, and I say I don't actually have time to go to my work. It's like it's so true.
Yeah,
The company that I work for, that I still work for now, like they're just such a support for me. Like last night I was sitting and I was like, right, what can I work around my uni timetable? So I send them a wee email with all my shifts and I can look at that and I think, no other employer would probably put up with that. They'd be like that, listen, you're a pain in our arse. Like,
I can get somebody else. Aye,
you know, so as much as like my other half, he's at home and he's a great support, so is certain aspects of my work, like the people that I
yeah,
work with are a great support for me. They maybe don't always understand where I'm kind of wanting to be, but with my journey, I have to play the long game.
yeah, absolutely.
So it's not a case of having everything in the right place now. Um, but yeah,
That'll stem from you though as well. That'll stem from you like that, creating the boundaries, creating the new standard. And when you raise the standard of your own life, you raise the standard of everybody who you come into contact with.
yeah.
Do you know what I
But
mean? Like
people
there's
don't
like,
like that. People don't like
mm,
that. Like, it's there's been so many people like what you kind of touched on earlier on. Like at the start of my journey, like I lost so many friends. Like they didn't
mm,
want anything to do with me. Like this woman was on fire. Like she'd found her voice. She was fucking. She was looking great. She wasn't going to hold back anymore. And I lost a lot of people in my life through that. And at the time, I think like I probably was sad, and I was kind of like, oh, why? But I've learned that we live in a women hate women. Like women actually hate women. Like I don't know what it is, but it's very rare to find women that will empower and lift
yeah,
each other up. I think from like my experiences, women are always kind of looking to kind of trail you down or make
mm,
you kind of reconsider your options or kind of sway you in some sort of way or never encourage you to be better. Whereas through this journey, I have met women
totally different.
who will do all those things, lift me up, empower me, encourage me, support me, listen to me. But that's only because I put that boundary in place that
Yeah,
this is not tolerable in my life anymore.
yeah,
This is no place.
yeah.
So
And
if
this
I
will be an
hadn't done
energy as well.
that,
That'll be an
if I had,
energy, like the
yeah,
energy you give off is what you receive. Just do that as well. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. So
Do you know, funnily enough, I was speaking to a girl yesterday through voice notes, and she said the same thing. She's like, she's kind of quite new in the whole. She's an NLP coach, NLP practitioner, so the same as me. So I was like, oh my God, I said, did you know about it?
yeah,
And So in a conversation, she was like, "Do you know, like she's on quite new in the whole coaching journey," and she was like, "I've never been in such a supportive environment. Like the women are actually like go you and pure supporting each other, and that's what it's all about. Though. It's like collaboration over competition. If you can collaborate with somebody, then you're going to make the world a better place, or one person's life
Exactly.
a better place,
Exactly.
and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Like if we can all unite, then a million voices is better than one. Do you know
But
what I mean?
that's the
And
thing. But I think to be able to unite, those individuals need to be happy with their own lives.
yes, very true. Yeah.
And if they're not happy with their own lives, then it just, the jealousy starts to appear, you
Yeah,
know. Whereas for me, I don't actually know what it's like to be jealous of somebody. Like I used to have friends that used to say, I wish I had her shoes. Why do you
mm,
wish you had her shoes?
yeah,
Like, why are you even saying that? Like, if there's something that I wanted and I thought, oh, like I'd quite like to have hair like Donna,
yeah,
then that's great, but you're going to have to go and work towards that and work
yeah,
towards it silently. You don't need to shout it from the rooftop that this is
yeah,
your intention of growing your
yeah,
hair long or getting it dyed dark, whatever it may be. I think that's what's wrong with the world. People are so busy trying to impress others.
yeah, rather than just doing it for themselves.
And I
Mm,
honestly couldn't give a flying fuck. Like I
yeah,
couldn't. The only
yeah,
person, only people that I care about impressing are myself and my partner, and proving to my children that if
that
you want a
ends.
better life, you can have a better life, but you need to bloody work hard for
Absolutely. And move on that note. That was amazing. Well done. Like this is so good. So I'm so pleased to have you on. Obviously, this is also Rhoda's first podcast. How much did she nail it? Well done. Well done. So I'm just going to say thank you so much for listening. If you do have anything to say, any questions for Rhoda, I'm sure she will be more than happy to chat with you. And what I'll do when I post this, Rhoda, as well, is I'll put your link to your Instagram and stuff like that in it as well, okay, so people can reach you. Yeah, does that
Thank
sound all right?
you.
Amazing.
If you put my business account in as well, I'll
Perfect.
send it
Just yeah,
across
just
to
send
you.
it. Perfect.
Thank you so
Anyway,
much.
thank you so much for listening. Please do drop us a wee follow or a wee like or share or speak to us if you want. Have a great day. Speak to you soon.